So I'm a refractive and corneal surgeon. So I work in Milan in Solihull privately, but I'm also a full-time NHS consultant as well. So I work in BMEC in the centre of Birmingham. It's a regional centre, loads of complex patients. And I'm also working sometimes in Birmingham Children's as a paediatric corneal specialist. So I have a wide breadth of experience in cornea and refractive. So I was just thinking about this. I've been using EMV for quite a while now. So I think it came out around 2 years ago, and I was one of the early adopters. So it's been well over a year and a half. So that's a good question. Many different types of patients, but obviously you got the cataract patients who want a bit more freedom from, want a bit more independence from glasses. Not completely glasses independent, but they may want social vision. So I do a little bit of mini monovision with the EMV. But actually, surprisingly, I've seen some EMV patients where they've actually got very good distance and some near vision as well on its own. So you do get the surprise sometimes. But yeah, some patients who aren't suitable for multifocals or don't like the idea of multifocals, but want a little bit more of a depth of focus, for example, intermediate vision. So in my practice, I do have an increasing range of options for patients in terms of lenses, and the EMV plays a huge role in that. So it's a go-to lens for where you want enhanced monofocality, or you want to do a bit of monovision or mini monovision. Yeah, I use many other lenses as well, but I find that the RayOne EMV is quite a safe lens to use. It's hopefully when it comes out as a toric, which it has done recently, I'll be using that as well. So obviously people who don't have astigmatism, they're ideal for the EMV on its own. The main thing I find is that it's discussing with the patient and having that kind of relation with the patient before surgery and making sure that they understand what the limitations of an EMV is or any other EDOF. Each EDOF is different because it's a really big umbrella term. So I wouldn't necessarily say EMV was a classic EDOF lens. I'd call it more of a premium monofocal or monofocal plus. And then you get other lenses that kind of have a little bit more, but also have their own side effects as well. So there's a wide range to choose from, but EMV definitely plays a significant role in my practice. I'd say it's a really good lens to try. It's really important to select the patients very carefully, first of all. You obviously want, I'd recommend you start off with obviously a cataract patient. You wouldn't want to do on a clear lens straight away, which I have done in the past, but the thing about EMV is it adds a little bit more to standard monofocal. So the first thing I'd probably do is offer it to a patient who hasn't got high expectations, so isn't telling you that they want to be glasses free, even not wanting specific things. So if they say, I want to be able to see the computer at all times and do distance vision as well, probably those kind of patients you want to leave for later on. So you want somebody who's what we call a straightforward cataract, and someone who is suitable for an EMV, because you do all the checklists. You can treat the dry eye first and then consider EMV. So I wouldn't completely avoid EMVs in dry eye, but obviously the downside of having dry eye or any aberrations is that the idea of the lens, the principle of the lens might not work as well for certain patients. So, I'd avoid it on post-laser patients for now, initially. So, yeah, EMV, straightforward cataract patient, probably want to implant the same lens in both eyes. Make sure the two eyes are quite similar in terms of, and then you could probably later on think about the monovision side. The problem with monovision or mini monovision is that I always have an optometrist with me in my refractive clinic. So I have a lot of understanding of the patient's eyes and the refractive status, and that's something that you really have to think about when thinking about mini monovision or monovision. Very high. Anyone who has slight astigmatism of above 0.75, I really would want to treat that astigmatism. You don't want any astigmatism when you're implanting a premium IOL, because the patients would like to be able to see as well as possible for distance and intermediate. So the toric, a rough guess about 50% of patients that come in, and probably because it's my group of cohort, because I'm a corneal specialist, so patients refer in I get referred in more complex cases sometimes, so they usually have astigmatism. So yeah, about 50% of my cases have an element of astigmatism which I'd like to treat in some way or another.